Welcome to another episode of Blank Pages, part 2 of the American Series. We have Tony in to my right once again. We have Ray. He didn't leave. He didn't go nowhere. Woo! He didn't go back to the trenches. And then we also have David once again. Well, he's been here. He ain't going nowhere either. Today, to start off the pod, if you haven't listened to the last pod, we was talking about, the Jamaican cultures and the American cultures that we adore, that we love. But for right now, what we're going to do is a little taste testing. So if you don't know, our very own Tony Ann has a bakery, or not a bakery, but you explain it, girl.
So I have a baking business where I make cakes, treats, chocolate covered, whatever you may like.
In the last podcast, I was already telling y'all that, well, not the last podcast, but the second, the other one.
The cake for your anniversary.
Yeah, if you did not know, go to episode 10 and you will see that the cake for my anniversary, the bento box cake, that comes with 5 cupcakes, not 5 cakes, 5 cupcakes, because I made that mistake.
And 1 6-inch.
And 1 6-inch cake. And my wife took a little too long to finish it. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say.
AKA, he ate it all.
That's all I got to say. And I'm not even a cake person. And like I said, and that's going to stay between what I told her. But yeah, so we're going to get into taste testing right now. So right now, Tony, and you do this, because
Me go first?
no, you tell us what it is.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah, what are we having?
today we have a classic red velvet.
Okay.
The red one, as you can see and tell.
Mm-hmm.
Then right beside it, we have the Biscoff cheesecake, which is a new recipe that I was trying. And then right beside that, also a new recipe, is the Biscoff cake. So
I just want to let everyone know that we have not tried this already.
Yeah.
So we're going to be telling her if it's disgusting, if it's good, or if we need to just, tell her to close down the whole entire business and do something that she's good at.
it's a little
But she is good at baking.
dramatic.
So yeah. Tony is my best friend. Borderline, she's my sister. So this is how, if I'm not mean to you a little bit, I don't really like you.
True.
So all right, which one you want us to try first?
You can save the red velvet for last, because that's the classic. That's
Okay.
the regular.
Okay.
Y'all can choose between either the cheesecake,
No, we got to choose all together.
Let's start with the this and then
the cake,
cheesecake.
and then the cheesecake.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
So what we starting
The
off with?
Biscoff cake.
Yeah, the best.
Okay. The sponge.
All right.
Mm. There's a light airiness to it.
It
Melts
was
in
the
your mouth.
resounding.
It's good. I like it.
What you
I
think
still
about
feel like
It's
it
cool.
could be a bit more, have a bit more of the flavor.
Mhm.
So that's gonna be what I adjust.
I like the consistency.
Yeah, I can see it having like with a nice cup of tea.
Mm-hmm.
Same. It's not too sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What's
I like
next?
my cakes.
Then the cheesecake.
I was trying to save this for last because this is like the creme de la creme.
I was hoping you would say that.
You want to save it for last?
Yeah.
Okay, save it for last. Go to the red velvet.
Okay. Got a nice squishiness to it.
Yeah, spongy.
About to have a TikTok review. Y'all.
Red velvet's fire.
Wow. This is a moist cake.
That that texture.
And cakes be dry,
Mm-hmm.
like desert dry. Okay.
I like that texture. Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
All right, now we got the creme de la creme.
Creme de la creme.
Because she told us a Biscoff cheesecake, and David nearly came and attacked me when I told him he got to wait for my wife.
Have to reset my palate for that one. Y'all ready?
Mm-hmm.
Really, you doing this professionally.
Yeah, ready?
All right, here we go.
Okay.
It's not dense. It's not overly sweet. Again.
What are we talking about?
mm.
What are we doing here?
Yo, Tony Ann.
What are we doing here?
I don't need to smack inside the mic.
I need an order of 1,000.
Yeah.
1,000.
That was normally when you get cheesecake, It either like when you cut into it, it's like a block of cheese itself, or it's just too airy. But it's like a soft woman who got a backbone. I'm sorry, that's the only analogy I got in my head. Right? Because you lactose intolerant, so you risked it all.
That cheesecake was good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. There
Yeah.
we go.
It was good. The Biscoff cheesecake.
See?
So
Not too bad.
I'm
three
kinda
set.
a little upset
Listen,
that it came in this little small portion, but
What a tea.
we'll talk business.
listen. This is only for promotion of business. So if you want more, 375 treats.
Yes.
Listen, I'm not going to promote anything that I don't want, and I'm not a cake person. But this Biscoff cheesecake.
I mean, you're not?
I'm not.
That's cool. If you know, you know. It's all right.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. If you didn't pick it up, leave it. Just leave it on the floor. Don't pick it up.
Did you get it, Ray?
It almost. I was like, wait, come. That's what he meant.
Yes, I am a cake person for certain things, but when it comes to cakes, certain cakes I don't like. But yeah. Oh, dang, that was good, girl. That was amazing.
Thank you.
So how did you I don't get it. How did you? Because we got to just talk about your cake for like 2 minutes,
I'm
and then we
done.
can get into this. How did you know what? I'm not about to. You know what? A master never expels his secrets, so we're gonna just keep it as a mystery.
Mhm.
Cause, sheesh. All right. Cause I've had cheesecake in my life, and that was damn near
good.
perfected.
That crust has... It's something about that crust, yo.
And it's not even like it's the crust and also that brown part right underneath it. I don't know if that's a part of the crust.
It is a part of the crust.
It's just all right. It's hard to talk about cake and get into the next segment of this.
Jamaicans.
So when we left off of talking about things that we admired, and we kept on touching a little bit on the things that we did not like.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that we brought up that we did not like, the bluntness that can come with it sometimes, and no softness. We also discussed how the fear of showing love.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I discussed it, but it was shared that the things of showing love, father to a son, you don't really see that much when you go back to the homeland. Is there anything else that you don't see? Because now we're gonna get into the subject where it's yeah, we are Jamaican, but we're not trying to claim that Jamaican part of us. Where it's yeah, you might see some negative aspects there, but nah, that's not how we roll. One part that I found out or I have seen, especially with most Jamaican men, not all, unfortunately the majority does speak for the population sometimes, is the way how they love their wife. I've seen it where their only job is to do the working, come back, and call it a day. You barely even see them have any type of PDA sometimes. I grew up with my parents showing all the PD and A. To the point where I can see the uncomfortability in people when they see them. But now that I'm in my marriage, I don't care who's seeing me. You can't tell me nothing. What is something that you have seen in Jamaican culture that you don't like? It's okay not to like something. I'm gonna go with David because you the more American one.
I feel like there's this idea of embarrassment. It's anything that has to do with being embarrassed, they don't want any part. Don't embarrass me. They want to keep up a certain appearance to not make it seem like the situation is something that would embarrass them. How they deal with certain things goes around, the idea of being embarrassing. That's something I hear a lot. Like, don't embarrass me, or just how you present yourself. If your clothes look a certain way, if you act a certain way, there's a high emphasis on the parent or the caretakers being embarrassed, caregivers being embarrassed. So that's one thing I never liked, and I feel like my mom ain't gonna see this. I feel like my mom avoided a lot of things, and she didn't address certain situations or certain needs because of the idea of being embarrassed. And I'm at the point where today I could address certain things with my mom, and it's very uncomfortable. So I apologize in advance. I said, "Ma, this is gonna be uncomfortable, but why did you handle this like this, or why didn't you address this like this?" I mean, I had the luxury of being at that point where my mom accepts certain conversations, and she don't always have an answer or the best answer, but she's willing to engage with certain thinking that she had before.
I kind of have to agree with you on that one. I feel like my sister is the one that prepped my parents for that. I feel as though while growing up, some things that my parents were saying wasn't totally sound, and I would ask why? Why y'all question me? And I feel like what you said was that embarrassment, because it's kind of embarrassing for a child to correct the parent.
Yeah.
On the parent side of it. And I feel like by my sister being more vulnerable, being a little bit more emotional, they couldn't approach her the way how they approached me with things. And now that I've grown up, I feel like when I have those uncomfortable conversations with them, when I'm able to tell my mom yo, why is it that you said these things to me when I was younger? And she will we'll have that now conversation where it's I'm sorry because I thought that was the best way. And it was where now I could see them as not just parents, but also human.
Yeah, they're people. They're just people.
And I feel and I'm not bashing Jamaica on this. I'm not bashing Jamaicans. They lose that humanistic being of them. You can make a mistake, and it's okay.
Right.
I feel like when it comes to I made a mistake, it's not okay. You can't make mistakes. You got to be perfect. No. And I feel like with my parents growing up, they were trying to be perfect in every aspect of life. But now that when they had another child who was a little bit more emotional, and they tried it the first way with the boy, and he was like, hold up, it's not working. It's just I got to switch it up. And now that I'm able to be your mom and dad in a respectful manner, I'd be why did you do this? Why did you do that? And they're able to tell me their reasoning, and I'm able to tell them how it really didn't work or how it kind of worked, but there was a whole lot of negative that came up, around it. We're coming to an understanding where it's just oh, it's fine. For instance, not to put Ray's child on the chopping block. No, I'm not even on the chopping block. When Gabe runs around the church, my mother's totally fine about it.
Let him run. Leave him alone.
But I remember when I was younger.
Sit down.
Exactly. Facts. Looking for the belt.
It's true.
To the point where now if a child is sleeping during the sermon, it's okay.
But when God it was you feel a pinch in your side. And you're whoa.
It's just what happened? Where was the person that pinched me in the side for just getting up,
literally
just walking?
Gone.
But this boy, I run like it's track. And everybody's just it's fine. And I feel when you're able to now see or get a grasp of other cultures, or to see that this is not totally right, that there has to be a little leeway, like you said, you lose that sense of embarrassment because it's embarrassing sometimes. I'm not going to lie, it's not embarrassing. I'm not even a parent, but when I was a case planner for ACS kids and they did something in public that was a little stupid, I'm like, I hope they don't think this is my kid. But now it's oh, there's nothing to be embarrassed about.
Exactly.
What about you, Tony?
I wouldn't say I won't, or I'm not gonna do this, but I'd say I'll have a balance, and it would be sheltering my kids. I'm a shelter them, but I won't over shelter them to the point where they don't understand what life is or what's happening in life. Like, they still need to understand how to move in society, what to expect, what they may come across, but know that, okay, I don't need to be involved in certain things, or I don't need to take part in certain things. When I was younger, we didn't go to people's house unless it was family. Unless it was like my mom's sister, my dad's sister, unless it was blood family, you not sleep over where?
Facts.
Came to America like, oh, can I have a sleepover or can I go to someone's house? No.
Facts. Either that.
No.
What's their name?
Exactly. But as I got older, I guess my last year of high school, slept over one of my big sister's house. And it was because mom was comfortable with her mom. They had been to our house several times. We go to their house on a Sunday evening. So it's like, okay, now this makes sense. So I understood why she didn't want to like release me into other people's like responsibility back then, but it was never explained, you know? So I would also shelter them. I'm going to shelter my kids because you can't leave your kids with everybody nowadays, unfortunately. But if it's a trusted family member, a trusted friend, cool, no worries. And I'm going to adopt the kids can come to my house mindset. So I'll take that. But I'm going to shelter them, but to a degree.
I think that's the key thing you mentioned is talking to your kids. I think that's one thing that just in general we all need to adopt is being open to communicating things. Like it's not just no.
Yeah.
It's no and a why.
I'm gonna explain to you why. Because that's when the kids become rebellious. That's when they try to get information for themselves, and if they get the wrong information, then God knows what happens. So yes, I love that. I love that you said that.
And honestly, my goddaughter has been prepping me with the whole questions thing because you grew up in your Jamaican household. It's like you're 5 years old. Why are you questioning your parent or your guardian or whoever is watching you? But she's like, "But God, mommy, but why? What? I don't understand, God, mommy." And I have to be like, "Okay, because of this, that, and the next." And then she's like, "Okay." And that's the end of it,
I feel like growing up, it was do what I say, don't question.
Exactly.
And then I see with like my little sister, it was do what I say. Why you crying? Oh, but I didn't mean it like that. Let me explain. I'm like, this explanation? I remember one time even coming, I can have the feeling of not being able to go to other people's houses, but at the same time, no one else is even coming to my house. That's why I hung around David a lot.
And I lived up the block. I came over whenever.
Fact. He lived literally up the block. And I remember coming home and I seen Michelet inside the room. No, I heard Michelet inside the room. And I was like, oh, Michelet inside the room. And I heard someone else. I'm like, who is in the house?
Friends?
She had a friend over. I was like, I literally went to her room, saw her little friend in her room, came back out. Ma, why I never had a friend over? And she was just like, I'm sorry. And I was just like, but Ma, that's not even fair. I'm in college already. I'm in college and I'm over here pissed off. And I'm like, but I never had a friend. And she's just like, I'm sorry. And it hurt me to the point where even on the weekend, because in my household, we don't like to hold malice. So if you're upset about something, talk about it. And I remember her coming to me. She's like, why are you still upset? I'm like, Mom, you don't understand. I literally lost out on friends because they thought I was weird that they couldn't even come over or I couldn't come over. I literally lost out on friends because I couldn't go hang out with them when we're just literally going to the deli store. The only people I can hang out with is the ones that you met. And the only people that you met is the people that I picked up Michelet with. And those people were not even that cool. And she was just like, I thought that, you know, when a kid comes over, they start looking at everything and they start judging. But when Michelet's friend came inside, I even forgot to clean, and the gal just run past me and go straight to her room. Michelet's room's a mess, but she don't care. And I was just like, no one gives a crap about that, Mom.
Yeah.
You just want to play with your friends.
It's
Huh?
literally,
That's it.
But she's just like, but growing up, we did. And I was just like, but Mom, that's a big, and that's another cultural difference. That's a cultural difference. When I went over to Julian's house, another best friend of mine, I didn't care what his room looked like. I'm just coming out to hang out. And I remember,
play some games.
and to be honest, he was the first friend I've ever whoever came over to my house, and I was in my mid-20s. Exactly, sip on the water. And I was just like, Julian, you want to come over to my house? He's like, yeah, sure. And I remember calling my mom. I was like, yo, Ma, can Julian come over? And she was just like, yeah. And Julian looking at me like,
That was too easy.
but he was looking at me weird because for Julian, I could come over. And it was weird for me because Julian is a lot more American than I am. And he would literally just walk through the front door, and his mom would be like, oh, I didn't know you was coming over. Hey. And I'm just like, you ain't know?
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy, bro. You ain't telling
You
nobody
don't do
I'm
that. You don't do that.
I'm waiting for you to get hit.
That's one thing I'm on the Jamaican side.
Yeah, like,
Let me
tell
know.
me, let me know. Like, and his mom be like, oh, I didn't expect you. I'm like,
you either.
you, dang, he ain't on nobody.
So, going back to your mom or your parents, how they treated you versus Michelet, and having Aaliyah and the age difference. The parent I am, or I was with Aaliyah, is not the same parent I am with Gabriel. I had to learn a lot of mistakes because I've seen how my reaction to certain things, my willing not to be open with her, or maybe my parenting style that I learned from my parents, I'm trying to use that style with her, and I realize, oh, this is not working.
Yeah.
So certain things she may see, it's just like, how come he get to do that? I didn't get to do that. And I have to explain it to her, like, hey, basically, I'm sorry, but Daddy didn't know better back then. It's accountability, right? I didn't know better back then.
That's beautiful.
But this is where we are now, and you are still at the age where you can benefit as well from certain things that he's doing, or you could do the same things, right? So I had to learn, I had to grow, and it's a good thing that you saw your parents grow in that moment, because a lot of cultural things get passed down, and you think it may work. Sometimes it will work in that environment in Jamaica, but when you come here, it's a whole different the way how we interact with and everything. School is different. It's a melting pot. So that's what I've figured out. So when I hear it, I was like, I heard you say that. I was like, I understand. Like I'm pretty sure my father and my mother were different parents to my sister and my brother than they were to me. I was right. I came 12 years later. So the experiences, they're more experienced when they had me versus when they had them. Yeah.
I like this dynamic because we're all first generation, but you have a first generation parent. You have one that came, I don't mean this in a mean way. She came off the boat. You have a first generation, but he experienced more American than Jamaican. They have a first generation where I experienced more Jamaican than American. The only time I experienced American was when I was outdoors, when I was not inside the house. It came like a shell shock in college when I'm looking at everybody like, oh, I've heard of spaghetti and meatballs. I never had spaghetti and meatballs. Oh, that's not lasagna? That's baked ziti? What is baked ziti? And it's to the point where it's just like, oh. And I like the fact that you're able to take accountability.
Love it, yeah.
Because unfortunately, that's not what I see a lot in Jamaican culture. where we're able to be like, nah, I was wrong. And the reason why I say not a lot, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I don't see it a lot. Where it's like, now you did something wrong and they don't become defensive. Because you do see a lot of them become defensive and it's like, oh, I'm not coming at your head. I'm not saying that you're stupid or anything. But the action or the way how you handled it or what you said was wrong. And the reason is wrong because of this. And you're able to be like, I'm sorry for that.
Yeah.
That's the part where, unfortunately, you don't hear a lot of. Is the I'm sorry behind the I was wrong. You hear that I'm wrong. All right, get over it. I'm wrong. All right, but you're alive. It's just like, yeah, you're wrong.
But did you die?
Yeah, but did you die? You're wrong, though. Are you going to say, I'm sorry and I'm happy? I'm happy to say that, like, you know, my parents has adopted the I'm sorry. There was a time when they kind of did it. Where I'll be like, but Mom, you're wrong. But what have I said? And I'm just like, but Dad, you was kind of wrong in this. And when I'm able to like now have that conversation, because it didn't, to be honest, it didn't just start now. It kind of started like around 25. Having conversations about it, talking about it. The way how you did things was kind of crazy. Them owning up to it and be like, yeah, I did kind of flip out. I'm sorry about that. This is why. Now understanding behind the grounds is just like, oh, thank you. I feel as though when it comes to being American, we can take a lot of the negative out of it. And it's hard. It's very easy, I mean, to like dwell in that negative. Where it's like, oh, Americans are either rude, like we just don't care. We're rebellious. We're outspoken, I've heard. Ready to speak our minds no matter the fact. But behind all those negatives, we're rebellious because something is being done wrong. Like David said, if you don't explain the why behind it, you get that rebellious phase.
Yeah.
The reason why we're outspoken is because a person gets tired of being trampled on. A person is tired of being told you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong when they know that in fact that they're right.
Yeah.
The way how you're doing it is kind of wrong. And that's something that I do admire about American culture. Now, since we're on American culture, what is something that you don't like?
About American culture?
Yeah, I'm going straight to Ray first.
Wow.
Because the reason I'm going to you, right, is because you're a parent. So right now you're in this aspect of what I believe, and you can tell me I'm wrong, where you're now picking up from what you have learned from the outside world, what you've learned from your parents, and now it's now a balancing game of what you're now instilling into your kids. Because your kids are now Jamaican, Mexican, and American. Exactly. I'm going to let you dwell on it. Tony Ann?
I'd say for me, the cancel culture aspect of it, where the second someone takes something out of context, they're like, oh no, you're a terrible person, you should get fired, you should lose your job, lose your livelihood, and then they go about their merry way. I don't like that. That is what I don't like. There's definitely context to situations, and things should be looked at as a whole before picking and choosing one minute part of it and destroying someone for it. So
I thought about that too. I feel like people kind of jump, like they leech on opportunities to be overcritical of people. But kind of piggybacking off of that, I feel like there's, especially right now, there's an emphasis on how I feel. Like my feelings are so important. They're more important than everything in the world. And I feel like kids are picking up on that.
yes,
And it's dangerous. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
and it's dangerous. They think they overinflate the importance and the significance of how they feel.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I think that's something we got to start, especially with the younger generation, we got to start curbing these parents, caretakers. Me as an uncle, I have the conversations, but I also let them know, like, hey, you still a child.
Yeah.
Certain things you still got to do. You
Mhm.
can't get everything your way.
And it's not always about what you feel. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. You got to
Right.
go to school. You got to do your homework.
Right.
You got to eat your vegetables.
Yeah. You know, these kids, and I have to, that's what I was actually thinking about how to word it and put it together. They have too much liberty, right? To things like even like the content that's online, what's being pushed in the direction,
Yeah.
the ideologies.
Everything is
You
so
know,
accessible.
everything is so
Facts.
accessible. Nothing to protect the kids until they get old enough so they can make their decisions instead of pushing this on
Yeah.
them. You see it in cartoons, you see it in certain channels or platforms. I'm just like, this platform isn't, you know, promoting this, but this platform is. And I'm just like, you know, but I realize that that's something that I cannot control.
Yeah.
But what I can do is set a standard in my home
Right.
and teach them the differences between right and wrong and say, hey, when you get to a certain age, you can make that the decision, right? But at this age, your mind is not developed as yet to make certain decisions,
Yeah.
Facts.
right? So I give them examples and whatnot, and they're young. I don't know if it's working. It seems like it is, you know, when they go to school and they come back home and they tell me about their stories and how they handle certain situations. I'm just like, okay. I think it's working. You know?
Good.
That's one thing I did adore. Is that I adore it now. I didn't adore it then, but I adore it now is the lack or there was a certain point of liberty that I had. I remember coming home and saying, yo, what's up, Ma? Who y'all talk to?
Yeah, I know your little friend.
Exactly. And I wasn't allowed to like speak slang. Even to the point where it'd be like it's mad brick or you had to mad I had to speak proper. To the point where now, even to the point, like even telling time on an analog clock. What is that? How much is this? What is 10 minutes to 7? What is 10 minutes past 7? And I'm just like, oh. Now when I'm growing up, I'm able to speak slang because, of course, when I was outside with my friends, I spoke it. But I know how to speak patois, of course, with my mother. But there was always this, I know how to be proper.
Yeah.
I have met a lot of kids nowadays who don't even know how to be proper.
They don't know.
And that's mad sus. What are you talking about?
Right. And they talk that way around anybody.
Yeah.
And there's no type of, I don't know if there's any connection or anything that's going on in the mental that's like, I'm talking to an adult. I'm not talking to one of my friends.
Yeah.
As for like the feelings part, I remember going to like a seminar and they had like a Q&A. And this girl says, how do you feel about your presence being here affecting some people's emotions? Girl, if you don't, if someone is affecting your emotions that bad, 1, go see Jesus and help. And 2, don't go. I feel like a lot of people, when it comes to this word feelings, they use it as gasoline, as like, you know, the thing that they should go off on. And I remember my uncle, he was explaining to me what man up is. When we tell men to man up, we don't really explain to them about manning up. What does that mean? Manning up means it's okay to feel your emotions, feel them. But now the way how you act on those emotions is either going to be detrimental or is going to propel you in a positive route. I.e., if you're angry at someone, if you then take your anger and punch them in the face, you're wrong. Unless they hit you back, of course. You know, defend yourself. But now if you take that anger, feel that anger, then go to that person, explain to them how that anger affected you, that's manning up. And I feel as though when it comes to these kids nowadays, like Dave said, it's all about their feelings.
Yeah.
I feel this way, so I did this way, and now I'm in the right because I acted this way upon my feelings.
Mm-hmm.
I felt as though like he was disrespecting me, so I punched him in the face. I know that was best. And it feels like with the American culture, it's always progressing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that it's progressing forward. And I feel like with the Jamaican culture, granted, it could be stagnant sometimes. But in that stagnicity, you do still have that traditional values of learning how to talk to your elders,
Oh yeah.
being respectful.
Right.
When you see someone, say good morning.
Yes.
New
when you
York City,
walk
we don't even
into a
see you
room.
say good morning. This morning, I'm walking Michaela, and she said good morning to a random man, and he had to say good morning to us. We passed him twice already. But it's one of those things where it's just like, granted, there's beauty in stagnicity because you're able to keep culture, you're able to keep traditions live. But there's also beauty in progressiveness. But the way how you're progressing can also be detrimental to the whole entire future.
And
I bet you ask any of these kids, look at an analog clock and tell you what time it is. I don't think they will know.
Mm.
I'm so serious. But however, they're progressing forward to the point where they're now able to use iPad as though it's like an everyday Lego set.
Yeah. And that's why it's important to have that bridging balance, where you have the bridge between the traditions and the progression, right? You know where you're coming from, you know where you're headed to, you know how to balance the two in between.
I think there's a saying says, remember and take where you're coming from. Use it for where you are now. And then see how you're going to move forward from there.
There you go.
Because you're remembering your past, you're remembering your values that you're taking. You bring it to now, and like one thing I love what David said is that if it don't make sense, he's going to find another way.
Yeah.
See what makes sense for you. Because granted, and these are no shots to my parents, I may not have grown up with Christmas gifts. My wife may have grown up with Christmas gifts. But we have seen in the middle where growing up without it is not okay all the time. But growing up with it is also not okay all the time as well. Because we have seen it where you have, not calling her, not her, I've seen it where kids who grown up with a Christmas gift, it's like every year now you just got to outdo what you got last year. So God forbid you get them a PS5 this year. Next year, if you give them a Lego set, what is this?
That's some entitlement.
There's no type of appreciation of the gift in itself.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's one of those things where now we're bridging it to like, all right, how can we bridge both Jamaica and America and make it Jamaican for our children, where you're going to get gift, but if I get you a PS5 this year and I decided to get you socks next year, are you going to show the same appreciation? Granted, I'm not expecting the same excitement. Right. No, there's a difference.
Wow, an avocado.
But however, it's bridging that gap. And with bridging that gap, you do have to take a lot of misconceptions out of it. One misconception that I've heard, especially about every time I say like I'm Jamaica, or I have Jamaican parents and I'm half Jamaican. Wagwan. Why do you think I just want to talk patois to you? Why? Just because I have locks and I'm Jamaican, you be smoking? No. No. Why do you automatically believe that I'm just in my house lighting up 24/7? And then when it comes to misconceptions, like besides me, what are the misconceptions that you guys have heard or have dealt with? Tony, because David over here.
We only eat like rice and peas and
That's funny.
curry and like no, we eat other foods too. We love our Caribbean food, you know.
I think you guys mentioned all the main ones, right? From the roughness or how tough we are, to the weed usage or marijuana usage, right? I think they were all mentioned. Those are the stereotypes that I've gotten. And we all know how to dance. That one too, because not all of us know how to dance.
Oh, please say that again,
And
cause
we all know how to dance. And we all can.
no,
Especially
I
nowadays.
can't.
The whole
Nah.
choreography. I can't do it.
Can't do it.
choreography.
Can't do it.
Willie Bounce
Pond the
was
River,
good.
Pond the Rock, Running Man.
Those
There we
okay.
go.
Those
we got
were good.
that.
Those were good.
Now all this.
Yeah.
No, I can't. I can't. What are we doing? Are we putting guns in the holster? Like,
I was like, nah, it's safe for me, man.
nah, I'm not. Or another misconception that we always prone to violence. No, listen.
Yeah.
Now, story time. I do remember two Sundays ago. I was driving to church for rehearsal, and this man was just driving a little too slow.
Mm-hmm.
So I cut him off. I was just like, So then I see him coming back, and I remember him, like I seen him from my rearview mirror, because I always like to check all fours. I see him from my rearview mirror. I'm like, oh, he about to do the typical, I'll cut you, so he gonna try to cut me, or whatever. So I see him come around. So I literally, as soon as he came to like right here, I just pressed on the brake a little bit, and he just literally did a normal cut, like he not cutting nobody off. He got pissed off, and I'm seeing him just like going off. Like he can see. I have sunglasses on, so I can see him in his rearview mirror looking at me. So he does. So I now let him know I can see him. Like, he gets pissed off. So then he gets out his car, and he has like a female in the passenger seat. You want to romp with me? You want to romp, Rasta? I get out. I'm like, what you want? He's like, oh, you're not Rasta. He confused. Because I didn't come out like, Wagwan. I just said, what you want? He just goes, nothing. I'm like, you mad? Yeah, y'all cut me off. I was like, but bro, you wasn't even looking like you was driving. You was too busy with your lady in the front seat. He was just like, just pissed. And I'm looking at him like, why you ready to fight? He's like, I'm not ready to fight. Me just. And I'm just like, and in my head, I'm just like, this is that misconception that we all just prone to anger and just want to fight. Because now you just got out your car and just wanted to yell at me? How do you feel? Now when you get in your car, in my head, I'm thinking this like, what did your lady gonna say? You didn't do nothing. You look more embarrassed. And I'm just like, I don't want people to believe, because if you don't know, like my car has a Jamaican flag on it. I don't know if he thought I was gonna come out and start romping with him or trying to fight him. I wasn't. I was getting out the car because you decided to get out your car. And if you about to get out your car, I'm not about to be in a vulnerable spot where you could just come and just take me out my car. Nah, I'm about to get in a nice dominant position. So in case you want to swing, I could swing along with you. But it's to the point where I had to sit down when I got in my car. I was just like, what would provoke him to get out the car? And it hit me that when I said, what's up, in my whole American accent, New York slang and everything, it baffled him to the point he had to just sit down in his car and just drive away. Because he expected me to be Jamaican, and go off on him as well. No, sir, it's not about to be that way. And I think he wasn't Jamaican. I don't know how to do a Guyanese accent, but he was Guyanese based off the influx of his, you know how they be talking. I don't really.
It's like a singing.
Yeah. And I was just like, you thought I was Jamaican, you wanted to fight. Nah, bro. What's up, David? Because I see you with the.
Nah, that's
Quite right at home.
Yeah, it was for him. For me, it was like a 2-minute drive to the church. To be honest, if he was to follow me, I was about to call you like, yo, wait, meet me in the parking lot real quick.
This is how dumb people feel when you bring something to a certain energy and then the person don't match it and you got to stay. Oh, well, I guess I got bad for nothing.
All right. So what is what is one misconception
Misconception.
There you go. Misconception. I don't know why I said it in Pato either. That you have when you are associated with Americans. Because especially when I go to Jamaica, it's like a frown. It's like they can smell that you're not that Jamaican. It's just like,
Yeah, they can tell you come from foreign.
yeah.
They can tell I don't know what it is about the glow of your skin.
Yeah.
What does
Yeah,
it mean?
it does. I don't know.
I put lotion on? You don't got
No.
lotion?
I
it's-
don't know, but they look at you and say, foreign.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
You ain't baking the sun long enough. It's, it's the truth. I can tell. What you mean? I look at my father when he was younger, and I look at his skin complexion now. I'm just like,
But
change.
your dad dark skinned though.
Yeah, but you can see the hyperpigmentation and change. Mm-hmm. When you baking the sun long enough, you have that different glow. And plus the way how you walk, the way how you interact with people on the road. You know, they can tell. No matter if you dress with your holy jeans. and
Yeah, they can
flip-flops,
tell.
They can tell.
One misconception I've had when I go to Jamaica or even other places is that as soon as you say that you're American, they automatically believe that you're entitled. It's like you don't have any type of common decency, no decorum. You're just automatically going to either be rude, outlandish. I pay my taxes. I'm American. Like, I've heard people go off, like, I pay my taxes. I'm American citizen. No one gives a crap.
Pompous, entitled.
There we go.
Or you don't struggle
Yeah.
as well. It made, I think, in different environments, struggle looks different, right? So for them, maybe that you're able to get access to certain things that they can't get access to. You know, it may seem like you're privileged, but not knowing what you have to do
To get access,
maintain to get
Right.
access. If you were in these shoes, you'd probably be like, I stay where I'm at. I could pick my fruits off the tree and eat it when I want to. Because I'm like, Jamaica has a lot of vegetation, fruits. I'm
You
over here
can't
paying like
starve.
$28 a pound for some soursop.
Bro.
I just have to look at it and like, not happening. You know, but you go on the beach, $2 for soursop.
Literally.
You can pick that thing off the tree.
Yep.
You know, but it's different perspective, man.
Yeah.
You know?
I saw the shock in awe in my wife's eyes when we went to Jamaica 2 years ago. And she was amazed at how people were just like reaching up and picking mangoes off the tree. And she was just like, don't that belong to someone? And I was like, there's a rule. If the tree is in someone's property, that's their mangoes. But if the tree is outside the property, that's for Jamaica. And she was just like, what? And I was just like, yeah. You have mango tree, you have this tree, you have that tree. And she said the same thing that you said.
You can't
go
starve.
You can't starve.
I don't believe you can go hungry in Jamaica. You can't. There's too many trees. Well, in country.
In country.
Yeah.
Because, and since we are in culture, because we are going to talk and we're about to come to a close. When I do go to Jamaica, one thing I do love, and it depends on certain types or certain parts, is the welcomeness that they will have.
Oh, yeah.
Once they see your face,
Hospitality.
it's like once they see your face the first time and they notice that you're not Jamaican, you'll get the harshness from that. It's like you got to go through the mud real quick in order to get to the diamond. It's like, oh, yeah, Yankee. And you get all the jokes. Oh, yeah, you have money there. And it's just like, oh, no, I'm poor, bro. You got to be rich to be broken in New York City. I don't know how you... But once you get past that, you hungry? You want something to eat? Oh, where you about to go? Oh, you want to come? Sure. And I remember like we were going in Jamaica and we're driving in a bus. We went on a mission trip, and like they saw a mango tree, and all the Caribbeans went crazy. And all the Americans was just like, we have no clue what's going on. But those who had Jamaican parents, you know, we joined in the fun. Like, oh, let me get mango, let me get mango. And Jinx was just like, they just gonna give us all the mangoes off the tree. I was like, yeah, it's right. One dude came with a stick and a bucket.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Shook it, it dropped, and just started handing it to us.
Mm-hmm.
One dude came with a bag full of mangoes. Like, I just picked this up. Here you go. She was like, what? I was like, yeah, you could actually go to the beach, go fishing, get your fish, and bring it back, and someone will grill it for you.
Mm-hmm.
And she looked at me with a shock and awe, like, you trust them? And just like, yeah, like in Jamaica, granted, we can be harsh. That's why I say we're the kindest, rudest people on earth.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, we can be harsh and blunt, but at the end of the day, there's still some type of love behind there.
Yeah.
Like, granted, we have spent some of this segment talking about I'll say the bad or the ugly part
Mm-hmm.
of Jamaica. But behind every ugly rock, there's a beautiful side. And that beautiful side is the love and the compassion that they show you once they get used to you. Granted, we're not like foreigners. There's a big reason why. I mean, if you see the color of our skin and understand 400 years of slavery, that would do it. But yeah. But however, when they get used to you, you'll see the greatness. You'll be like, it's to the point like, I love going to Jamaica. Just give me a day or two to get to, for the foreigners, well, not foreigners, for what do you call those people who are from there? For the natives to get used to me.
I was like, what?
I know whatever I say could go left. So I always look at Tony Ann to make sure I'm on cue. For the natives to get used to me. So when they're getting used to me, now I can enjoy the greatness of it. Because anytime they be like, you're not Jamaican. I'm like, yeah, but my mother. And also, I don't understand why Jamaicans always do this. I'm from Partmore Waterfall.
Because you got to specify where you're from. Because you have a lot of people saying, oh, they're from Jamaica. They're from Jamaica. Where?
Okay.
Where? So when I say I'm from Jamaica and they ask where, I'm like Kingston 2, Rollington Town, Gilchrist Street. So you know where I was from.
And she is from Kingston
2. Rollington Town. Gilchrist Street.
Gilchrist Street.
Mm-hmm.
Look it up. Fact check. Tony and don't lie like that. So you don't have to do that. But if you choose to, you're just gonna prove it right. But yeah. So what beauty do you see when it comes to Jamaica? And what beauty do you see when it comes to America?
For Jamaica, I'd say I love how we take pride in like whatever we want or anything that we did. And we take pride. We can be extra, and I love it.
Extra like the gum.
And
I like
it's a great
it. I like
gum,
it. I like it.
right?
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for the American side is their open-mindedness to new things.
How about you, Dave?
I would say the same thing with pride, being Jamaican. America, just the liberties and the rights that we do have. I mean, we're still working on it, but but we do have a lot of liberties. We do have a lot of rights, a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
I think the American dream is dead. Don't get me wrong, but there's still a lot of opportunity here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely a different dream now.
Yeah.
I don't know what dream it is.
Man, from the food
Mm-hmm.
to the music to the impact we've had in every facet of music, whether it's over in India or it's like a reggae form of everything. You know, I take, so the pride, I think I might get in trouble for this too, but I think Jamaica has a little bit of everything when you go and visit. Like I said before, the music. If you want somewhere peaceful and beautiful, if you, right, when it comes to tourism, I don't think there's I mean, maybe some of the other islands are developing now where that's changing, but I don't think there's any. It's just a different vibe. You go to Jamaica. When you go to places like Dunn's River Falls or Ritz Cafe, and doing things like those. It's not only people. You have one side of Jamaica where it's very tourism, Montego Bay and Ocho Rios, and then you have Portland Tonio, where it's more like sightseeing and a lot of rivers, because Jamaica is known for the land of wood and water. There's tons of rivers and tons of streams and whatnot. So, man, that's the beautiful side of Jamaica that I like, the culture. Every culture is gonna have a really good side of it and a side that's like,
yeah.
Like,
I think that's ubiquitous. But I really love what Jamaica has to bring to the table, and the different, even the way how my parents raised me wasn't perfect, but some of the ideologies that they had and they embedded in me, I appreciate those things.
One thing I admire about the American culture is our sense of openness. Granted, it could be a little too open, like a wide open door. However, I do like our sense of openness, because when you do accept a lot of cultures inside your back door, you now become influenced to other people's ideals and other people's traditions. And then you're now able to puzzle it together, like, oh, this does fit together. I understand why you do this, because over here we do this. And I like how the openness does form some type of community with a lot of cultures. Like, for instance, unfortunately, if I go down a block that I see a lot of, multicolored flags, I feel safe. If I go down a block and I see nothing but American flags, I feel like I'm in danger. Because to me, it's just like you're not open. You're closed off. And that's not the American way.
Yeah. Because
you can't be American and just think that the only predominant thing in America is white. It really not. If it was predominantly just, granted, they are the majority race. But if it was just predominantly just white, why are you influenced by so much? The American pastime, which is baseball. It ain't your sport no more. Granted, basketball was made by the Jews. Right. It ain't your sport no more.
Get okay. It's over.
So what is one page that you would take out your book when you're dealing with someone who has a multicultural background?
And dealing with them in terms of like what?
Well, anything that you would tear out your book. Like how to deal with having a multicultural background. Being Jamaican and American, or being Asian and Brazilian, or basically just having a multicultural background that now you identify with.
David, you go first.
Just embracing the idea that different is just different. It isn't inherently good. It isn't inherently bad. And being open to things that are different and people that are different, I feel like simply that works out.
Okay.
I think I've taken this page before from a different episode, but finding the balance in just how you interact with both sides of your culture.
Or better yet, for you, what is one page that you would give to your kids? Is it multicultural?
They're multicultural.
They tri-cultured.
All those little competition here and there for Mexico or Jamaica in the soccer. That's another story though. I would tell them to be open-minded to both, right? Avoid things that are negative and not practical, right? Whether it's certain stereotypes of each culture, right? Avoid them. But at the end of the day, you have to find their identity. As they get older, experience both. and then embrace the two.
One page I would tear out, and I'm going to steal it from David. Granted, he didn't say this for his page. I'm when he did it. Take what makes sense. Like if it don't make sense to you, don't do it. You don't have to do it. Like if pushing through makes sense, do it for now. If pushing through don't make sense, don't do it. Like take out what matters and what doesn't. So take what you need and take what you don't need. And that's going to wrap up for today's episode. Thank you, David, for coming.
Yeah.
Sir.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. It won't be the last time y'all see him. Might have you on one of these men talks, bro.
I talked to my manager.
Got you. No problem. My people will hit up your peoples. Once again, you can find it on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook.
YouTube.
And YouTube. And Tony Ann is one of my people, so yeah, technically my manager. And for all audio, you can hit us up on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, and also we also on Prime also. But yeah, hit us up on those platforms, and thank you for joining. If you're ever confused, and especially if you're on YouTube, check the link on below. I have not said this in a while, but check the link below. Also, like, subscribe, send it to someone who's multicultural, and keep it a day. Stay turning.
Stay
Thank you.
blessed.
All right.
Woo!